Good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. I did not do a Sunday live meal prep this week because essentially there was no meal prep. So I was away, for those of you who might not have seen on stories, I was away in Brisbane for the weekend for my daughter's bodybuilding competition, her first one. And that was amazing, but we didn't get home until kind of lunchtime on Sunday and we were pretty tired after a big weekend. So I went through some backup things that I have planned for times like this. So I'll go through that in a minute. But what I also did while I was down in Brisbane was I got to meet 4 of my amazing clients in real life, and I absolutely love doing this. Whenever I travel and get a chance, I try and put a day in where I can make sure I meet clients, even if it's just one of them in that area. And it's so good to meet these women that I work with in real life. It just really is something special. So I had 4 of them and we got together at a co-working space and we went through a road mapping exercise, which is the basis of my Hot and Sculpted mentorship. So I took these one-to-one clients through it and set them up for 2026. So we did a 12-month plan and we looked at the establish of where are they now, regardless that they've already been with me. You always, when you're going to set yourself a plan, you always want to establish where am I now? And then it was like, right, well, where do you want to get to? So we established where we want to get to. And that's based on potentially an ideal body weight, dress size, something like that. But more importantly, we go through how much body fat and muscle mass do you need to get to your goals. And then the in-between bit is where we go, right, now we need to optimize. And optimize for women can look like, do you need to optimize your overall health, sleep, energy, hormone balance, get rid of perimenopause symptoms? Okay, that would be the priority number 1. We want to optimize your meal planning, make sure that you get your calories, your macros and everything correct, and the types of food that you're filling your meal plan with is nourishing you. So and that will all go towards better sleep, energy, hormones, all those sorts of things. So that's the nutritional optimization. And then they also need to optimize their training. So have they got the foundations of training where they can just build from there? Then after the optimization, you go into phasing. What sort of nutritional phase do you need to get to where you want to go? And for some women that can look like a recomp, so you're building muscle, losing body fat and just working really hard to get strong. That will get you there. Some women whose body fat is higher, you actually may need to go into a deficit initially after the optimization phase, because we don't diet when we're not sleeping well or don't have good energy or hormones, because that's only going to put your body under more stress. But some women do need to go into a deficit early on, but these women can generally build muscle whilst they're on a moderate diet, which is really great, or at least be getting the foundations down, which is awesome. Or are they someone who needs to go into a build? So someone who doesn't have a lot of body fat and really actually should be eating more, going into a reverse and building. Or maybe you've been training for a while and you're at that point where you're more of an intermediate trainer and you can't recomp anymore, because really, unless you're an intermediate to advanced trainer, you should be able to recomp depending on your history of dieting and health. But some people may need to build. So that is pushing the calories a little bit more to allow you to build some muscle. So there's all sorts of different phases that you can do, and you might need multiple different phases. So that fills the gap between where are you now and where do you want to be. So we went through all of that, which was amazing. But what I wanted to touch on was the very common theme with talking to my clients and standing back and watching that bodybuilding competition. And I know that bodybuilding is a very different space to wanting to live lifestyle lean and jacked. Still the same principles, but obviously you don't go as extreme. But the biggest thing I saw on stage, the ones that were successful had more muscle. And why did that make them more successful? Yes, they had that great shape. So if you are looking for great shape in your body, you want those cap shoulders, the lifted booty, the popping hamstrings, you simply need more muscle. And then the other part to that is, did they get low enough in body fat to reveal that muscle? And there are a lot of women up there that when you don't build enough muscle, your body will struggle to get low enough in body fat to reveal that amount of muscle. It's just not practical for your body to be down there. But also metabolically, muscle is extremely supportive. And my daughter was one of them. So she's done one building phase. So she did 6 months of building and then she went into 6 months of dieting. 6 months of dieting is a very long time. We don't do that as a standard, and her body was extremely stressed at the end of it. But now she goes through a reverse and nourishment phase once she's finished her competitions, and she looks after herself for a couple of years before going back to a competition. But the principles are still the same. She did 6 months of building. Yes, she's been in the gym for a long time, but really having a coach lead her and show her really and push her to build that muscle. And she has muscle and it's amazing. But being so young, she doesn't have probably the years and experience under her that other people have been doing. So she was one of the younger ones there, probably one of the youngest there, I would say. Having a look, there probably maybe was one or two around her age, and their body look was very similar to hers. She wasn't low enough in body fat. And that was after 23 weeks of dieting. She still didn't look like she had enough shape. And why is that? She simply needs more muscle. And I had a really good chat with her coach, because her coach actually came from Melbourne to support her through the competition being her first. So that was amazing to see Andrea there. And we had a really good talk. And I was like, so what do you see? Like when you have clients like this, we know she wasn't lean enough. And Zali was well and truly aware of that going into the competition, that she wasn't lean enough. And she was okay with that. 50% of people drop out of the prep. So just getting to stage is the actual win. And she was in the top 5 call-outs, which was amazing. So generally what they do is when there is more than 6 people on stage, they'll do the top 5 call-out, and they're the people that are going to be placed. So there's placements are for the top 5. And she came 5th in all of her categories. So she made the top 5 call-out, which was amazing. But you could see the difference. And this was something talking to clients and people in my DMs that I am seeing all the time as well. Having the realization of how strong and how much muscle you actually need. The problem isn't the body fat. Yes, everyone probably needs to lose some body fat. I get that. And even with Zali, she needs to lose more body fat to be more successful on stage. But why couldn't she get that low? And why are you struggling to get that body fat to come down? Is that you are simply under-muscled. And even if you were able to diet hard enough to get lean enough, you're still not going to see shape, which is the other thing that was missing from a lot of those girls on stage. Is it wasn't just that they weren't lean enough, they didn't actually have shape. We can actually see some great shape in Zali. She just needs to train a little bit more. But this is the common thing that I'm seeing, is that people want to strip the body fat back, but they're still not going to have shape. They're still not going to look good, even if their body let them get there, because there is not enough muscle. And this has got to be the priority. And whether it's trying to build more muscle, which is additional tissue, so your body has an extra demand on it, a demand to say, I need more. And it's also a demand to build a metabolically hungry material in your body. So if you aren't optimal and you aren't feeding it in the right way and you aren't nourished, allowing all of your systems, your survival systems to function, it's not going to funnel into muscle, because it's going, well, you don't have enough to survive properly to even create new tissue or sustain that new metabolically hungry tissue. So you do have to be optimal and nourished. So it's all about optimizing your body first. That's why after my establishment phase, which is the mental, where am I, where do I need to get, we go into optimization. Because if you are already not sleeping, got crappy hormones, lag energy, or are on 1700 calories and still not losing weight, then your body is not optimized to actually lose fat or build muscle. So building muscle is metabolically expensive. It needs to be able to survive, and your body is really, really smart and will always prioritize keeping you alive first. It won't build that metabolically hungry tissue. So you do need to be nourished and absolutely optimized. So that's always the first phase I take women through, is learn how to optimize their own body and get in tune with their body. And then the next thing is yes, okay, once you've built some muscle, you need to lose some body fat. But again, if you don't optimize your body to get that muscle, but also just so your body feels safe, it's going to work against you to reduce that body fat. So optimization should always, always be the first phase. And most women that come into me are one of two people, predominantly overtraining, undernourished, eating lots of salads, eating clean, eating whole foods, and they're actually not getting the nourishment that they need. They're generally under eating in calories. But hear this, you can actually be overeating in calories, have an extremely high body fat and be gaining weight and still be undernourished. How is that? Because you're eating more calories than your body can burn. However, you aren't nourishing it with the right minerals, the right vitamins, the right aminos to make sure that things like your thyroid is working really well, that your metabolism is working really well. And again, when you are missing the foundations of minerals and vitamins, your body is always going to prioritize shuffling them into survival. Our body also has a survival mechanism that it will hold on to body fat and store any excess energy that is vacant of minerals and vitamins into fat, because it's its survival mechanism. So if it feels like there's famine, which famine, you can have excess calories, so you might maybe eat a lot of empty sugar. I'm not an anti-sugar fan. I actually do eat plain white sugar and honey and things like that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the crap that goes with it, or the lack of nutrients in the processed foods. So if you're eating a lot of energy that doesn't have the right nourishment in it, your body will still feel famine and then take all that extra energy and store it as fat, because it's going to shuffle all that nutrients into surviving. So you can see how it gets really tough for your body to actually let fat go, and you keep pushing low, and you have to push extremely low to actually get your body moving, and then it doesn't become sustainable. And that's when you get the 3 p.m. oh my god, I've got a binge, or at nighttime you're in the cupboard, or you feel like that you have failed because you can't sustain it, and it's actually just the way you're structuring your nourishment. So the two biggest things is people being undernourished or not optimized, and under-muscled. You have to be strong, and you have to think about the muscle first. So how do you get muscle? Well, you nourish yourself properly and provide yourself with enough calories and the right macros. And then once you've done that, it becomes focusing on the training. And there is a method I use, and I call it the FIRE method. So the first one is form. Correct your form. And I'm yet to see a woman come in and not get feedback to correct form. Okay, I know you think you're training right, but if your body is still stiff and you're not getting where you want to be, your form is not correct. Because if your form is not correct, one, it will cap the amount of weight that you can lift, and two, you're not utilizing the muscles that you're actually targeting. So if you're not doing a hip thrust right, you're actually not targeting your glutes, and then you go, why don't I have a booty? And so many women get the hip thrust wrong. So many women. RDLs, same thing. So many women get that incorrect, and they think they're doing it and they think they're executing it right, but they're actually not targeting their glutes the way they want it to be, because an RDL can be hamstring and can be glutes. So there's form to be thought about. We must be executing form correctly. Then there is I for intensity, and that is about creating enough stimulus, which is working to mechanical failure or close to failure with correct form, to provide a stimulus to your muscle to say, hey, I need more. Knock, knock, knock. I need more muscle because I'm trying to lift this weight and it's really, really fucking tough. So make it easier for me. So there is intensity. Then we have recovery, and recovery can be from nutrition, having enough carbs to actually help your body recover and shuffle all that protein around. But also, are you getting enough recovery from the amount of work you're doing? And it could be you're doing too much work and your body can't recover from it. So more is not necessarily good, okay? And that more can look like frequency. Some people don't do well with frequency. Some people don't do well with volume on the day. Some people don't do well with excessive sets. So recovery can look different for everyone. And this is what I teach you in the Hot and Sculpted mentorship, is about teaching you to know which one affects you. Okay, we've got some common guidelines that we look at and little things that we can, that kind of head us in the direction and go, well, it's likely this. And then you do a test and measure, and you start listening to your body's feedback to work out where your body recovers best. I can say, and I'm looking at shifting towards one of these types of splits again, I can honestly say that my body works better with frequency without large volumes on the day. So I don't want to be doing 3 or 4 exercises that are all for glutes on one day, because my body doesn't recover from that. But if I took those 3 or 4 exercises and hit it 3 or 4 times per week, just once, I still have done the same amount of work, but it's done in frequency with recovery in between. So you can see where that can actually be different. And that's where I have built the most muscle I ever have. And I did that on a 3-day program. So you can actually do it on 3 or 4 days. And then the last one is escalation, or everyone is calling it progressive overload. Are you progressively overloading so you're escalating your performance? Okay, because if you're not going up in strength, you're not building muscle. So if you're always doing 3 sets of 10, you're not building muscle. Or if you're doing 3 sets of 10, that means your first set wasn't hard enough, because I can guarantee you, if you are doing 10 in all of your sets, you didn't work hard enough in the first set. And you could pull that back to 2 sets, work fucking hard, and you would get like maybe 8 reps in the first one and 6 or 7 in the second one, because you are fatigued from the first set. You worked close to failure, and that is what forces your body to escalate in strength. So keep those things in mind when you're thinking about your training, all right? That you need more muscle in order to be able to lose the body fat you want to lose. It's the only way around it, and yet you're backwards. You're always trying to lose the body fat first. Now, yes, sometimes you will lose body fat with that, and sometimes you may need to be in a deficit, because if you're 30 plus body fat percentage, then you are at a health risk, and you do need to bring that fat down. But if you're not doing it in a way that you're also building muscle at the same time, you are metabolically going to down-regulate, and you're not going to look the way you want to look. So muscle always needs to be the priority, because if you optimize yourself good enough to build muscle, then you become even stronger and even better, and then your body will let the fat go. So you need to be really focusing on training. If your true desire is to look like someone who goes to the gym, you are simply not strong enough. Now, how strong is strong enough? I do have a podcast on this, but this is where women go, oh my God. If you're not deadlifting a 100 kilo deadlift, you're probably not strong enough. You're not going to have enough muscle. And that's like a little bit of a guideline. Maybe you're someone who doesn't do deadlifts. Maybe you're someone who does RDLs. Well, then it's probably about a 90 kilo RDL, because your RDLs, you don't move as much weight as a conventional deadlift. But there's a standard there. If you're not deadlifting 100 kilos for reps, then you are not strong enough. You don't have enough muscle, because strength equals more muscle. And even then, you would have to be sub 20% body fat to show that amount of muscle. And when I plan that with women, they are always surprised at how strong they need to be and how little body fat to show being sculpted and jacked. So if you really want it, this time of life, it does start to get a little bit harder to build muscle. So you need to be more specific about what you're doing. You really need to be tuned into optimization and recovery. They should actually be really big pieces of what you're doing. Not cutting carbs, not cutting whole food groups, not constantly dieting. And if you're someone who's dieting and failing in a couple of weeks or changing, you're just putting your body underneath chronic stress. You need to get in, get the deficit done as best as possible, and get the fuck out. If you're in there and you diet all week and then break on the weekend, or you diet all week and then, oh, it was such and such's birthday, but then the next week, oh, it was Easter, and then the next week it's like, oh, I'm going away. All right, all you're doing is dieting all week, creating that stress, and then undoing the work that you've done by not doing anything about it when it's someone's, you know, birthday or whatever. Sometimes there has to be compromises, because for you to get to where you want to go, you have to be that 1% person. So you need to remember that, all right? And if you're always dieting, your body is likely under a lot of stress and needs an optimization phase first. And that's why in Midlife Hot and Sculpted, the women that I find come in are, you know, they're career driven, they have a lot of stress at work, they've been raising a family, and as a mum, we just give everything to the kids and the husband and the partners and the friends, and always think that we should be giving because that makes us a good person, which, by the way, is a load of bullshit. Giving to everyone else first and putting yourself last does not make you a good person, does not make you a good mother, all right? I can guarantee you can be a better wife, partner, mother, friend, sister, by feeling good in yourself and being strong enough and healthy enough to help people through the hard times. So put yourself first for once, all right? So you come in and you're super stressed because you have neglected yourself and you've got a, you know, high demanding career. So we need to put you through some optimization first. And if you don't do this process first, you won't build muscle, you won't lose body fat, and in 12 months' time, you're still going to be sitting in the same place that you are now. And I'm sorry, at 50, I'm not wasting any more fucking time, because every year gets harder to reverse the damage. So if you are 40 plus and you're feeling the perimenopause and you can't build that body that you're really looking at, and you're still soft, or you've still got high body fat, then you actually need to put it together in the right order and take your body out of stress and be as nourished as fuck before it's going to work for you, and train hard. If you want to sculpt a body like you go to the gym, no one gets a sculpted body just by showing up at a gym and going, hi, I'm here, and lift a couple of weights. You're not going to get a sculpted body like that. So if you demand or desire a sculpted body, you have to work out like someone who has a sculpted body and they are strong. So remember, you need to be able to deadlift at least 100 kilos, 4 reps. That is the strength that will show you the body that you want. Now, if you want the podcast around how strong do you need to be, drop me a message podcast from this reel and I will send it over to you. So they were the common themes I saw over the weekend, that it doesn't matter if it's the bodybuilding stage or you just want to have that lifestyle jacked look. You need more muscle than you realize, and to do that, you have to be optimized and you have to be as nourished as fuck. So start putting all the puzzle pieces in the right order, get yourself a proper roadmap, and get this done. Now, my Midlife Hot and Sculpted mentorship opens on the 5th of May. For those who get on the wait list now, there is 2 bonuses that go with it, and you also get the foundation membership price for this month only. Now, if you're still not sure if it's for you, link in bio or DM me and we can set up a Zoom call, and I can actually run you through a strategy of what it would look like for you. Strategically, what would you need to do to get to where you want to go? And then you can see if you think that Midlife Hot and Sculpted suits you. So you can also book a call with me. All of that is being done this month, but at the end of this month, that all ends. So don't miss out on this. Now, to go into what did I do on the weekend? So didn't have any meal prep. Got home lunchtime on Sunday and we were exhausted. And I have a lot of people that go, oh, well, you know, I meal prep on a Sunday, and then that means, you know, if something happens on a Sunday, you know, I haven't meal prepped and then I'm lost for the week. I've actually got a few different meals that don't need some meal prep that Dean and I enjoy. And they're the types of meals or dinners that we draw on when this kind of thing happens, because life happens and life gets busy and we go away for weekends sometimes. So one of the things that I do is I pop my shopping order in before I leave. So the shopping gets delivered to me by the time I'm home from my trip. So we got a shopping order delivered yesterday, which was awesome. So we're all set up with our foods for the week. I literally took 20 minutes the night before I went to bed, got my laptop out, quickly put it in. You know, grocery stores will do a phone app as well. You don't have to carry a laptop with you. But you pop your order in and you have it scheduled to be delivered to your door or for you to pick up when you're back from your trip. So that would be one thing that you can do. And then we chose a dinner that needed no actual prep for the week. So we're just going to go with steak and air fry potatoes, or chicken and air fry potatoes. So I've got some great steaks in the freezer. I've got plenty of chicken thighs in the freezer. I'll just use some herbs and spices on top of them and we will be done for the week. All we have to do is fry the chicken off when we want to eat it, or the steak. And while that's cooking, the potatoes are in the air fryer ready to go. That's literally a 10-minute job to cook dinner. So we are happy to do that after the gym. And that's what we will use for the week. As far as lunch goes, we've been having meatballs, sweet potato, fruit, juice, and cheese for lunch. They're the types of things that we've been having for lunch. So cheese is always in the fridge. Dean has the cheese. I haven't been having the cheese. I get my fats from my chocolate. That's where I like it. But he's been having the cheese. Sweet potato. They actually didn't have any sweet potato at the shops this week. Fuck knows where sweet potato's gone. So I just chose potato and I boiled some up, and that's good. I always batch prepare some meatballs, and I've got some in my macro manipulation meal guide for my clients. I've actually got lots of different spice mixes and stuff that you can use, like different profiles, so like Greek or Persian or Italian or Indian, whatever you like different flavor profiles that you can make meatballs out of. So I literally just get a 10% fat mince and throw the spices in. But I do this every now and then. I go and buy a few kilos of mincemeat, put it all together. I literally weigh my little bits of meat out. I know that I want, I think it's 35 gram meatballs. I've got it written down somewhere, 30, however many grams it is for however many meatballs that you want for a serve for you. I just weigh those little bits out, lay them out on a tray, freeze them, and then pop them into a bag. So I've always got a big bag of meatballs in the freezer. That is just something I do every month or so. It's just right, I'll just spend the morning and bang them out, and then they're in the freezer. And as they start to get low, I just go and do it again. So I've always got them in the freezer. So I didn't have to prep them. I just cooked some off and I boiled some potato, and that was done last night. Last night's dinner was just some leftovers that we had in the freezer. I had some Mexican mince, I had some sweet curry mince, and I've always got bags of cooked rice in the freezer. Did you know that cooked rice actually freezes really well? We put them into portions in a plastic bag, pop them in the freezer, pull it out of the plastic bag and heat it in the microwave, and it's good to go. So last night I didn't even have to do dinner, but whilst we were just heating things up and that, I just popped some potatoes on to boil, and the meatballs that were in the fryer, and they take 10 minutes. And my breakfast I make in the morning. So I'm done. I'm literally done. Another thing that you can do is, maybe when you cook meals, double batch and freeze it down in the general portions that suit your macros. And then you can have a freezer full of prepped meals. I've actually got a few prepped meals in there at the moment, though we're going to cook steak and chicken with air fried potatoes through the week. If we don't want to cook, there's actually a couple of pre-prepped meals in there that we can draw on as well. So getting yourself set up with prep a little bit is just, it's a game changer. It really does save time for when these things happen, or you go away for the weekend, or you plan to prep on Sunday and you're all sorted and something happens and you don't get to your prep. Knowing a few real basic things that you can do quickly during the week, and eating foods on repeat. If you love the food you eat, you won't mind eating it for the week. Now, yes, you can cook a different dinner every night if you've got a family and that works for you. That's not a problem, but I would still highly recommend double batching and putting stuff in the freezer, because what if there's a night that something goes wrong and you can't cook? Okay, you want these quick and easy things to go to. So just setting your lifestyle up in that manner, and it just becomes the norm. When you've got a morning that's free or an afternoon that's free, or whatever it is, you could roll some meatballs. You could cook a batch of Mexican mince and pop it in the freezer. Even if you didn't freeze down, I tend to freeze my proteins separate from my carbs. But even, you know, rice is 10 minutes on the stove, 15 minutes on the stove cooked. So if something goes wrong, you could just throw a pot of rice on and pull out a Mexican mince. Or you could just whip to the shop and get some nice tortillas and some lettuce and tomato, put your Mexican mince in with a bit of yogurt. And so there's heaps of different things that you can do with it, and it's in the freezer ready to go. So be proactive so this saves you, because this is one of the things that people come to me with, go, well, you know, I'm not spending every single Sunday food prepping because what if I want to do something, or what if I go away for the weekend and then I'm not set up? Well, when you actually start living in this way, you start doing these things ahead of time, and then you'll also have your backup meals that you know are super, super quick and easy to do, that you know you can actually cook those during the week to get you through. So our meal plan overly exciting this week? No. Do I care? No, because we really like it, and it saved my ass. We've been away for the weekend and now I can just get on with it. I've got a really, really busy week ahead. The next 2 weeks are super busy while I finish off the final details for the Hot and Sculpted mentorship, which I'm super excited about launching. So that will be launched 5th of May. So I'm finishing off all those bits. I'm working hard at the moment behind the scenes. And I also get to still go to the gym. I don't have to give that up because, oh, now I have to cook dinner or I'm busy with work. I'm actually prepped and ready to go. Anyway, if you want that podcast, send me the word podcast. If you want to get on my my email list, the wait list, I should say, for the Hot and Sculpted, please message me. If you want to book a call, you can message me as well, and we can go through that strategy plan to see what it looks like for you. So some things to think about. If you've got any other questions, my DMs are always open. Have a good week, everyone.